And we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome. How's everybody doing on this fantastic Tuesday morning? We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, a few other things. There's not a whole lot of news going on today. We do have some kind of consumer sentiment report that comes out at like 10 o'clock or something. But as far as high-end, like market-moving stuff, I don't see anything out there. So we're going to be looking and see what we can find here as far as some trades today. Bitcoin, it's still accumulation mode. I mean, it's what it looks like to me. If we go down to the 1 hour time frame, you can see it is literally just going up and up and up and up, making higher lows and higher highs. So, I mean, ultimately, it is kind of an ascending channel, and these are looked at typically as bearish formations. Would you shush, Pep? These are typically looked at as bearish formations, but they can break out to the upside as well. So, key levels that I'm watching right now, 35,060, which is old monthly support. And then another monthly support up there at 38,491. We'll go take a look at those real quick. Right there is the lower monthly support level. And then right there is the other monthly support level, of which, you know, basically that's holding as resistance as of right now. So yeah, we'll see what it can do, if it can do anything. Trading sideways for the last 4 weeks, essentially. I mean, you did make higher close here and another higher close, but relative to the previous 3 weeks, those closes were not very high. So it doesn't look like it's being able to catch any kind of bullish momentum at all. Last week, you did break out and failed. This week, you can see that you're in a very, very tight range. Weekly resistance. You've already been fed. If you don't shut up, I'm going to throw something, knock you in the head. Even if you guys can't hear him, he's driving me crazy. So we'll move on. All right. Oh, what did I do? Anyways. All right. So here we go. All right. Resistance, weekly res, going to be 37,462. So if you are looking for shorts, that is a level that you could potentially watch for that short. Will the market roll over there? I have no idea. All right. I have no clue. Hush. Go away. Why'd you come in here and start running your mouth? All right. So that level is going to be the area to watch. It has already held as resistance once. It was acting as support on the hourly time frame right there. So I don't know if I would want to take that short, but we are 15 minutes away from the New York Open, so we could absolutely retrace that entire bullish candle right there. So we'll see what happens. Hourly res here. This is the first hourly candle to break out. So these are typically the candles that you want to watch for, because these are the candles that can ultimately end up being a trap, right? Those first ones to break out above a resistance level. Resistance was holding here, then you got that breakout. So if it is going to roll over, then I would expect it to do so in this hour or next, right? You don't want to see any more higher hourly closes, is what I'm trying to say. So that's the level that I would watch for short side entries if you want to short it. As far as buying is concerned, daily supports are always the area where I suggest that you look for those buying entries. The problem is the last two that we've had. Yesterday we broke below and closed below. So the last 2 days in a row you've had lower closes. So obviously today, seeing how you're trading as an inside day, the normal outlook would be to look for the short, simply because you closed below support yesterday. All right. Now, with that being said, that's just for a day trade. That's not how I feel about Bitcoin. Like, as far as I'm not bearish, that's for sure. But for a day trade, seeing how the last 2 days have had bearish closes, lower closes, and like I said, this one breaking down from support, then today you would look for resistance to hold. The resistance, the weekly res is almost up with that daily resistance there. So you got a little bit of confluence right in there. But yeah, other than that, a midpoint test of this bearish candle would be as far as I would look for it to go, because that entire bearish candle was retraced. All right, was retraced, but that doesn't mean anything. This could have simply been a trap, and you could see downside continuation as low as 35,745. So that's the level that I would take my short if I was going to short it. If it tags it or gives me an opportunity to take a short on it, I might just do that. 5-minute time frames look like it's already trying to take place. Yeah, and that was a fresh daily high as well. So yeah, this is where I'd look for the short. But I don't want to chase it. So maybe we get another push higher up to 37,413, which is this candle's closure, and then maybe we can look to take entry there. I would rather take entry at this level. I'd want to see price trade up through the level and drop back under it, and then we can get short, and then we have a wick to put our stop up against. This one right here, just like if you were to take the short now, you would put your wick above that. You're doing that before the market opens, and we have seen 930 before Bitcoin will roll, can roll. But we'll see what happens with it. It would be nice if it would give us that short entry. If you want to use a wide stop in a small position, you could essentially short it now. But we like to try to get the most narrow stops possible. So, and another thing also, I do want to see it break below the midpoint of this candle if I do end up taking the short trade. So we might have a trade set up here, we might not. We'll see what happens. As far as that goes, the trades that I am currently in right now, I closed this out for a loss this morning. It was a short put, and then oil just broke down, and then the spreads opened up so wide on the micro contracts that I just got out of it. Excuse me, I'm short Comcast. Let's go look at Comcast. I have Bitcoin pulled up on the other screen, so I will be fine. All right, so basically took a short on Comcast a few days ago, expecting it to break down. Finally, we got that down move yesterday, and we are gapping down this morning, so that's good. We were looking at this and Charter. Here's all the symbols that I am looking at right here. If you want to pause and take a screenshot of that and make your own watch list, go ahead. But these are all the symbols that I've got my eye on. All right. So here's Comcast, and this is Charter. We should have shorted this one instead. Even though it's a much more expensive stock, we could have put on a bearish put spread, and we'd probably be out of that thing by now because it does move pretty fast, right? As far as price wise, I mean, where I got daily res right there at 420.11, you can see basically how it held there, and then we gapped up on this day right to that price, traded above it a little bit, and then fell, and then basically been making lower closes ever since. So daily res obviously held there. So yeah, once again, it looks like I took the wrong trade. Took the wrong one, but we're still in it. We're holding it. We'll see how it plays out. This trade right here, KHC, we bought it down here. No, actually, we bought it here, down in this region. It was making a bull flag. And then the very next day after we bought it, it got a ratings increase. So it jumped up, and then it traded sideways for multiple days here. But then at the end of last week and the beginning of this week, we got our bullish move. All right. And I closed that position out for over 100% return on that trade. It's a good trade. Let's see what else. RTX. I took a bullish entry yesterday near the end of the day based on this as old res here. This is what I want you to focus on. This candle. Notice how it gapped down, closed down below that level. That's old resistance. This is the breakout point. So if price is going to come in for a retest of that area, I wouldn't expect it to hold exactly perfectly. I do always expect it to be overshot. That's why I say a lot of times in these videos to wait for price to get back above your level. And then if you get something like this, that's where your entry point would be. Where's the stop? Anywhere down in here, right? A close under that bearish candle there, and I would close the position. Or if it exceeds your 1% per whatever you have in your account, you close it. That's that simple. You don't let it exceed your 1%. That's how you got to keep your losers small. So when you do have really good winners, it catches you back up. Since nobody really knows what price is going to do. It's all about managing your risk. That's it. That's it. We can get good setups sometimes, and sometimes they work out flawlessly, and then other times they don't. Normally, I would be looking at this as a shorting opportunity based on the moving average structure, but RTX is a defense corporation. They make rockets and bombs, And there is escalations happening right now in the Middle East. So I would expect this to continue higher. If we go over to when that actually happened, what was it? I think it was at the beginning of October. It happened on a Saturday. Very next Monday, it had a big gap up. This thing traded sideways and big gap up. Not exactly sure as to the date that it happened, but I do know that the reason for this thing moving up is based on that. Same for Boeing. We took a long trade on Boeing down in here. That trade ended up paying us good as well. Only I did not milk it for everything it was worth. I ended up getting out of it on this day, but it was for a good profit. Well, it was like well over a 50% return on that position. I should have held that. In hindsight, I did not expect it to move that far, but that definitely would have been nice. And then you got your Northrop Grummons, same thing, same scenario, and your Lockheed Martin, same thing, same scenario. All four of these stocks are kind of moving in tandem with one another. So we'll see what happens. It might be too late, and if it is, this will break down, and I will close the position out for a loss. It's just that simple. And I took a quick short on XLF yesterday. Let's see here. Let's pull up XLF, which is just the banking sector, because this was a hell of a run. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. This thing traded for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 green days in a row, moving massively. Like, that is a massive move for this asset. Coming into a bit of resistance up in there. Yesterday I had a gap down, but it closed up. Today it's not gapping. It's pretty much trading at yesterday's open. So it technically is a gap down. Bitcoin is moving up. Shit, I'm not logged in on this one. Let me go over to this one. Let me go back to Bitcoin because it is getting its move up. Excuse me. So the level we are watching is weekly res. Like I said, we're taking the trade based solely on the fact that yesterday and the day before closed bearish. So this would be your entry opportunity. Stop, I would put at least above this hourly candle's close. Why that one? Because it's the next highest one. That's why. All right, so stop would be somewhere in the line of 37,518. Let me see what that would be on Bitget and weeks. It would be 37,479 on Bitget. And entry anytime. Got 3 minutes to the bell, so I'll wait on that. Just to see if we get a spike above today's high. This is a fresh daily high. So these are not typically the days that you want to short. Typically the days that you want to short on are the days that are already bearish. Like this day here, right? This day would have been a good day for the short as it was already bearish. It was already moving lower. Let's go find it. So this is today's open. This candle is today's open. Comes down, sets in a low day around the London session and moves away from here, moving into the New York session. So this would be yesterday's right there. So we'll Alt V that. Alt V that. So this is your open right here, and then you move down. immediately after, and you trade sideways all through the night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. There's your London session, 4 o'clock, 1 hour later than 3 o'clock, moves up, tags the same level that we're watching now, and then moves lower. So it didn't give us a setup in the New York session. Right through here would have been where we would have been looking for the short. It had already made its move. But if you were awake during the London session, this is where you would have been looking to short it. A, it's already bearish on the day. B, it's trading under the open. This is the open of the day. This candle essentially just traded up to the open, tagging weekly res, and then rolling over. That's what we would expect to happen today. Only today it's different because today it's up on the day, not down. So we'll see how it plays out. So let me get back over here on the 5-minute. Do that as well over here. And oil, it's just being very volatile. So I sold that call for 3 days out for $55, basically a $55 credit, expecting that, since this is the lows down here, it probably wouldn't get back down to those lows in 3 days. And then it made that wick right there, causing me to lose $30, $40. And the spreads got really wide as well. So that kind of scared me out of the position. But this is a quarterly demand level. So if it is going to be bullish for any amount of time at all, I would expect it to catch support here. But instead of finding support here, it's actually acting as resistance. Oil is not bullish. It has moved back into bearish territory. And it has been a short at resistance since. Well, we don't have a resistance level down in here. So, we can use the quarterly level or old support right there. But I would much rather had an entry like on this day, for instance. That would have been the best entry. As you can see, daily resistance, trades back up, tags it, and that's it. Boom, rolls over. So it would have been a multiple day trade. You do have, no, you don't. That low is lower. So I was going to say there is daily bullish divergence going on there, but there isn't. There isn't. No divergence. But, it's been trending lower since it had this meteoric rise. It fell quicker almost. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But it's right back in this long-term range. You can see old monthly res, monthly support, and then this is kind of sort of in the middle of it all. So you broke out of the range. You were able to trade, bullishly, in fact, out of that range. I thought oil was going to continue higher, but it ended up rolling over. All right. So we'll take a short trade on Bitcoin right now and have a very tight stop. Very tight stop. Because Bitcoin is bullish. Something else I want to show you real quick. If you look on the daily RSI, you've almost tested the 50%. So if it is going to continue up, it could do it, right? It has backed off of its momentum. It is no longer overbought on the daily time frame. It is still overbought on the weekly time frame. See, there you go. Still overbought on the weekly. But on the daily, it has moved away from that overbought signal. So that could be the reason why we're seeing a push higher today. Remember, stops just right up there, right above this hourly candle's close. But we'll see if it rolls over or not. Like I said, I haven't really been trading Bitcoin because I haven't really seen clear and obvious setups. It's been doing some really wacky stuff. Wacky and wonky stuff. I mean, you're bullish and then all of a sudden you're bearish, then you're back to bullish, then you're back to bear. It's difficult to trade that. It is nothing more than a chop and a range. And I hate trading chop in ranges. Unless the ranges are clearly defined, I don't like trading them. So yeah, there's that. So we'll know we're wrong on this trade if it doesn't start to roll over soon. Like I said, I need to see it get lower than the midpoint of this breakout candle. The longer it stays bullish up here, the more chances are that we are wrong on the daily directional bias. All right. So we want to see it start to roll over. We want to see it perform something like this. When it does this right here, it's not really bearish. It's more bullish than bearish, actually. All right. We got Pepe's blessings. There's good trades coming. Yeah, he's a punk sometimes like that. Just come in and start flapping his jaw. He's already been fed, so I don't know what his deal is. I like the market like my PP up and to the right. Great to be here. You mentioned that you took profit 130 your spot Bitcoin. Do you plan to buy back later, or is this just for your expenses? And if yes, what levels would you be interested? Yeah, I put out a video on Saturday. You could go look at that. Yeah, I won't buy back in. What I do is I trade, right? I trade the inverse swap contract. So that way when I make money, I'm paid in Bitcoin. And I take that Bitcoin and I just move it over to cold storage. So yes, I will continue to add to the cold storage wallet forever, I guess. You know what I mean? As far as like buying in, if I were someone that doesn't have any Bitcoin exposure, then I would simply wait. Right now, you're overbought on the weekly time frame, and it's in Bitcoin's history, it's typically not been a good spot to be a buyer, especially the year before the halving. And I went over that like in depth on Saturday's upload. So basically what I'm looking for to potentially happen, right? Because I can't tell what price is going to do ever. I can't predict the future, but I wouldn't doubt it one bit if Bitcoin didn't pull all the way back to 24,750. This is a quarterly swing low. It's Q2 of this year's low. So it is a massive level. And that level was not liquidated on the run higher. So I would not be surprised at all if Bitcoin were to trade back down to these levels. So if it does, and we're I don't expect it to happen in 1 month. So, I mean, we're just going to have to take it day by day once January gets here. I'm not going to be a buyer in December. All right. I bought on Jan 1 or, got long, I should say, on Jan 1 in the trading account. Jan 1. That's when I got long. And that trade was a freaking good one because it had a lot of leverage on it. So that trade paid me very well. I would do the same thing, but I would want it to be lower. I don't want to buy it. Like if it trades sideways all month, up here, because right here is Jan 1. Right here. That is Jan 1. And then over here is your halving. So what I want to see Bitcoin do is I want to see it slowly trade down, or fastly. It doesn't matter to me. Liquidate this level and then start to rise again. And then I would like to buy it somewhere in here. Or, get long again on the futures account and slowly see if it does this. And by the time it gets to the halving, boom, right? Because that's typically what's happened in its entire future. And I know a lot of people are going to think, well, this time is different. And it very well could be, right? It very well could be. It just depends on what happens. A, do we go into a recession next year? B, let's see, what was B? We're in a high inflationary environment, high interest rate environment. Bitcoin typically doesn't perform well. Well, we've never actually had those those scenarios to backtest Bitcoin, so I have to backtrace that statement. I can't say that because we've never seen a high inflationary environment or high interest rates with Bitcoin. We have seen them raise interest rates with Bitcoin, but it wasn't due to inflation, right? They were just doing their normal interest rates, moving them around a little bit. Like December 2019, I think it was, they raised interest rates a little bit too much too quickly, and it caused the S&P 500 to roll over. This is not the kind of price action I want to see. However, it did tag the level, making a fresh daily high. So I want to see it roll over now or in the next 15 minutes, or I will close that trade for a loss. Because we're well beyond the halfway point of this hourly candle. Well beyond it. Now, I have seen hourly candles retrace in the last 2 minutes, but that was on pound dollar. We'll see what happens. This is where you want your stop. Right there. And then if we even just get it back down to old resistance, that would be much better than a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So, level has been tagged. So if it's going to roll over, I want to see it do it now. Soon. Very, very, very soon. But yeah, that's my thesis on Bitcoin. That's what I want to see on Bitcoin ultimately. I know a lot of people would get hurt if it was to go all the way back down to 24,750. And I also know that everybody would be extremely bearish if Bitcoin were to get back down there. And that would more than likely absolutely put it in oversold territory on the daily time frame. Oversold territory on the daily time frame. We got there right in through here. That's naturally, that was a good place to buy. We hit oversold here. Naturally, that was a good place to buy. And then obviously we were oversold here. Obviously also a good place to buy. I mean, it just depends on the macro trends, what's going on in the rest of the marketplace, what's going on in the world. Have we broke out in full World War III? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too much to say. And at exactly what price, I don't know. We'll just have to keep our eyes on it. That's all I can say with it. But for right now, it looks like it's in full-on accumulation mode. Some people will say that this is a bearish formation. Some people will say it's bullish. It is an ascending formation, but that's what bullish means, right? Moving up into the right. It's not really a wedge. It's more of a megaphone. But I don't trade patterns. I trade objective price levels. right? So you got something like that going on. Or I guess one could argue it's more like this. And in that case, you would have an ascending wedge, which is, like I said, typically looked at as a bearish formation. But I've seen bullish wedges get broken out of many times. Here was a bullish wedging formation. You were wedging, then you closed, you dropped down, but ultimately it ended up being bullish. And I mean, we've just been bullish all year because of the massive pullback we had. That was almost 70 some percent. Here was the halving last cycle. I can't believe it's been already 4 freaking years. It's insane how fast time is moving. It seems like this candle was yesterday to me. Seems like it was just yesterday because I remember all the death and doomers out there. Bitcoin's going to zero, which of course we knew that was not true. We knew that as soon as the Fed said that they were going to start propping the market up, we got bullish. And then here's your halving, and not long after the halving, you get your bullish breakout, and sayonara. Bitcoin's leaving the train station. So right in there's when you wanted to be a buyer, and it really didn't matter what price either, obviously. Like that was $10,000. That would have been considered expensive at the time. Overbought on the daily, right? There's no way I'm buying overbought on the daily. Well, I'll wait for a midpoint test at least. But that's during and after the halving. So that's what I would wait for. And unfortunately, that's all the way into Q2 2024. Can you wait that long? April 15, 2024 is when it's supposed to happen. But this day will probably change. The closer we get to it, it'll probably move. Because even though they call them 4-year market cycles, the halving doesn't happen exactly every 4 years. It's different. It's like last year it was 3 years, 11 months. I think the prior one was like 3 years, 9 months. But you know what I mean? It's just it can't be done exactly in 4 years because it's the blocks, right? When they break them or when they hash them or whatever, that's what declares the halving once you get to so many blocks. So it's almost impossible to get the day, predict the day to exact. But that's about when we're looking for it for now. But Bitcoin still isn't doing anything, which is not really what I want to see. S&P 500 had an expected move today of $17. You can see that we're $5 into that move to the downside. I don't know what you mean, Brian. Little banks long, CRE long. I am short the banks. So if you want to go long the banks, go ahead. It doesn't mean I'm going to be right. I'm just looking for a pullback. Did KRE do exactly what XLF did? Or did it do something different? Looks like it did something different. So would I go long? Potentially. Yeah. If this level 43.62 holds, why not? I'd get long for potential bounce trade. So my short trade that I put on yesterday is kind of working. Not really. Like, I hope it drops more than that in the coming days, but we'll see. Yeah, it shows that I'm negative $2 on that position. And I just bought a $35 put. Just one. So we'll see what's going on there. Looks like the long on RTX is working out okay so far. Now, that RTX position is a position I plan on holding simply because I'm looking at this move as a bear trap, right? This was a bear trap because this candle told me it was. And then we come in for a retest. So that's when I got long. Now what I expect to happen is, since we traded low, lower, 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 and then gap down below that support level, and then the very next day, boom, then I'm expecting this to happen. Right? Something like that. So this is a trade I plan on holding for multiple days, unless, of course, it breaks down under the $79.16 level. If it breaks down below that, I'll close the trade out for a loss. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go long CRE, I don't see a problem with it. I don't have it up here. But yeah, I'm kind of short the XLF. And the XLF isn't the... See, the difference between CRE and XLF is the financial sector, whereas CRE is just a banking ETF. An ETF that tricks the banks, right? Whereas XLF may have other things in them other than just banks. It might have stuff like, PayPal, credit cards, insurance. There's all kinds of stuff that can be inside the XLF. But here's CRE right here. And then KBE, which is same thing. It's a bank ETF. Either one of these, kind of the same, right? But this is the level you want to see hold, Brian. Excuse me. 43.62. As that's obviously the breakout point. This is where you want it to hold. I wouldn't worry about the gap filling, because this gap didn't fill down here. Don't worry about gaps. Don't let them essentially change your bias. This is definitely moving higher. It's gotten above the 50. It retested the 50 right here. And then you had expansion. So it is definitely, as of right now, trending higher. And it is at potential support. A little bit lower would be trend line support, but this is the level that I would focus on. As long as it does not close a daily under that level, I don't see why you couldn't buy a call on it. And calls are cheap on this, it's an easy ETF to manage your risk by, because the options do not move quickly. Oil is just completely going crazy. Look at this move, lower, then up, now back down. Just crazy. I would probably go out 52 days, Brian, and buy that $44 call if I was going to trade it. Bitcoin's still wedging up at our level. Not really doing anything. We need it to start rolling over soon. Big bearish candles is what we need to see. Otherwise, I'll close the position out. Hello, Heath. Gold is blasting to the upside. Yeah, I know. I totally missed that trade. Totally missed it. I was looking at it this morning, and I didn't want to get long because it was into a resistance level. Old weekly res right there. Now, obviously, in hindsight, I should have bought it this morning, but it was very hard for me to do it. It was holding support. This was support. I mean, it held support here, and then you got to close higher, and then you kind of just drifted sideways. So typically, that is a position that I would have taken if it wasn't a weekly resistance level, right? I try not to get long at resistance or short at support. Never get short at support. Never get long at resistance. Occasionally, you'll get lucky and you'll get the breakout. But whenever you're getting long at resistance, that literally means that you are expecting it to break out. And just with the amount of time that I've spent trading, that generally doesn't work out. Generally, it doesn't work out. The best time to get long gold would have been down here at the 2023 yearly opening range. That's the trade I missed right there. But why would I have gotten long on gold, right? Dollar was going to the moon at that point in time. So, yeah, I didn't take it. I wish I would have, because that's been a very good trade. Very good trade. I mean, this all-time high is right here. The longer the wedge, the bigger the breakout typically is going to be also. So, like, if you were to put and say, like, this is your range, a measured move would put you up around $2,400 on gold. All right, Bitcoin is now starting to dive just a little bit. It's not diving, it's not crashing or anything like that. It's just slowly starting to move away from the level, putting us back into positive territory on the entry. And it did not hit our stop loss, so that's good. But we'll see what happens here. Take profit would be 37,259. Depending on how much money you use, depending on how much leverage you used, obviously that will determine what kind of money you make. But just to the midpoint of that candle is only a 40% move on the day. So you would need to be pretty highly levered up in order to take profits there. Excuse me. But the main objective would be right there, around 37,260. That's where I'd take profits, move my stop to break even, and see what happens. But this isn't acting bearish at all. This is not acting bearish at all. The S&P 500 is. The Nasdaq's only down 32 points. SPX only down 8 with the expected move of $17, which I believe it hit. No, almost. Right here's the expected move low on the day for the daily range. But the options market has been terrible at pricing in risk because the VIX is broken. The VIX is like a major contributor of pricing risk into the marketplace. But since everybody's trading 0-day expiration options, it's screwing the VIX up. So since it's screwing the VIX up, the marketplace is having a really tough time in determining where the risk is. But as of today, the risk was down 45, 46 was the low. And then the risk to the upside is 45.76. So I'd be looking for longs down here, not shorts up there, just because the market's been bullish. But it's like I said, it's difficult to trade when the markets do what they did what they did, right? Like you had this massive explosive short squeeze rally, and then again, so you had like two legs of it, never gave us a chance to get long, not even once, right? Not even once did it give us a chance to get long. You can't just buy into a green candle. You got to buy at support. And you never tested this support. And then it just took off. If I was going to buy it, I'd probably buy it roughly in this area. This is the weekly expected range. The weekly expected. But last week it didn't do anything. You had this nice move up, and then you just were sideways until this day here. But this was still a small range day. It's a 1% move, so I guess it's not that small. It's actually 45 points. So it was not a small range day. But these 3 days were small range days. And I mean, are you really going to buy it at resistance? There's your resistance. No. So wait for it to come back and test 45.14. If it does, maybe then we can look to be a buyer. But I'm really not bullish this marketplace. Really not. Like, there's only a few stocks propping it up until I see the Russell and the Dow Jones start to get bullish. Then I will get bullish on the S&P 500. But this is what is really going on in the world, right? This is 2023's open. Literally, you've been sideways the entire year, putting in fresh yearly lows down here, trading back up to the yearly open. Like, that's not very bullish. So, like, and this is like the midpoint of the range, right? You can see how big this range is from white line to white line. Forget about the yearly open, and then just look at this point right in here. I mean, you tagged it in here. It acted as support in here, acted as resistance there. So, I mean, one could just do something like that, adjust it a little bit, right? And it's like, that's the midpoint of this range. And that's why you found resistance there briefly. Will it hold? I don't know. We'll see. It has the ability to be bullish. This is an area to be a buyer. I was thinking about buying the IWM yesterday. I'm glad I did not, because today it would be down. But we could probably put on, let's go see if we can put on a long call spread on the IWM. First, let's go see what the skew is doing. So it's still high. it's still high, so that's probably not going to work out. Whenever the skew is high like that, it makes the implied volatility. Ooh, this is actually going down. So yeah, it could actually work. Let's make the strikes go up because we're looking for a call spread. So I like the numbers to go up. So we could potentially buy the 177 and then sell the 380 for $1.54. But you can see that it doesn't really give you a good profit potential because it's a $3 wide spread. That's all you can make is $3 minus the premium paid, which is $1.50 to $1.55. So obviously that's going to be your max profit. But you can make the spread wider. There's a $5 wide spread. It's just too expensive. It's just too expensive. Why do a spread instead of just buying the underlying or just buying one call or two calls? You can if you have the risk tolerance for that. This count doesn't have 25 grand in it, so I can't make day trades. So like if I get down $80, I have to set in it. And I don't like doing that. Whereas if you do the spread, it slows that down, right? And then you're more or less looking to make your you won't make a max profit, but you could take it off when it's at 50%. You would just we look at the curve and analyze the trade. So you would need for it to hit $200, no, 191 in order to make 50% return on that trade. 191, 190, 191. Or 180, 188-ish. And it's trading at 177. So you'd need it to get up to here, right in this area, to make 50% return on investment. Which, it could do, but we look at it on the daily, it looks a lot further away. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? The market is so screwed up right now, and I think a lot of it has to do with zero date expiration trading. I really do. So we can go out to the VIX and go out past 30 days. Look at the implied open interest in here. It's quite a bit. There's 131,000 open interest out there at $19. 131,000, 177,000 contracts at $20. But this could just simply be a hedge. And then you go to today. Doesn't look that great. Maybe they're not doing it on the VIX. They're doing it on the S&Ps though, for sure. Go out 30 days. Look at the open interest. Out of the money open interest. Looks okay. Nothing major in there. But then go to the 0 day. I mean, it's just crazy. And this is the small product. This is the SPY. If you look at something like the SPX 0-day, it's just a light volume day. Just a light volume day. Not much happening today. But yeah, as long as this market is doing this and the Dow Jones is, well, the Dow Jones, to be fair, did actually start to get its run, but it hasn't made fresh yearly highs yet. The Dow Jones and the Russell, basically, I need them to get really bullish. But I'm not bearish either. It's just one of those things. Like, I want to see what happens when we get up there. This is the pandemic. And then this is 2022. So what happens when we get back up in here? Do we fall again? I mean, that'll really tell us if this rally's got legs or not, right? SPX versus the money supply. So we need to see it break out. So I don't know if it will or if it can. And if that's the case, then I don't necessarily want to be bullish on the S&P 500. Right? Everything else, Euro USD, look at what it's doing today. It's 0.16%. Not much, man. The SPY's down 83 whopping cents. Aussie yen, neutral on the day. Aussie dollar, 0.26%. That's half of what it usually does. Nothing's moving. Nothing. Oil's not even up a whole percent. Meta barely up. Microsoft barely up. Like, nothing's moving. When nothing moves, it sucks because you need those moves in order to make money. You need the moves. Need the market to stretch out. It's just been trading, chopping in its range. 192 to 189 for 5 days, 5, 6, 7 days. Amazon, I wanted to short it yesterday because Jeff Bezos sold $1 billion worth of his shares. Now, why would he do that? Why would he do that? He's not the only one did it either. The dude that owns Chase, he also sold, I think it was 300 mil or $150 million or $300 million. I can't remember, but I know it was one of those two numbers. Jeff Bezos sold up to $1 billion in shares. So it's like, why are these big rich tycoons selling right now? If they are, then I probably want to be, right? Who would be better to see what's actually going on inside of the consumer than Jeff Bezos? So for him to take out $1 billion, he's probably going to park it in treasury so he can earn himself a 5% yield. 5% on $1 billion would be pretty nice. It's got me edgy, to say the least. I always enjoy hearing your point of view. Thanks for your time and thoughts as always. Hey, it's my pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you and your time. Good morning, Mr. Tom. Could I look at Emerald Resources NL ticker EMR, please? Absolutely. Anything for you. So I don't know if you're wanting to buy this. It's an electric company, so that means it's a utility. All right. Is this an American company? It is. Let me show you what the utility sector is doing right now, my friend. Now, this is not to say that your trade idea is garbage, because I'm not, but the utility sector is not doing good. If we go look at, let's say, AEP, for instance. Ooh, that looks like the XLU, don't it? Let's go look at knee, for instance. Ooh, not so good. Let's go look at Duke, another power company. But they are on the, one could argue that they are potentially on the rise. Yours is EMR. Yeah. It's in the bearish control zone on the RSI, so I don't think I'd be a buyer yet. But if it gets oversold, maybe I'd be a buyer. But if it gets oversold again, then that means when it got oversold here, it was a good spot to buy for a little while, as it ended up having bad earnings and gapping back down, getting oversold again. So if it keeps going from, the 50% line to oversold, it's not something you want to buy, right? Because it's trending down. You want to buy something that stays in the bullish area of the RSI. See, buying oversold here was a great plan. And it ended up working out beautifully. So wait for it to get to oversold again, or wait for it to do something like this. And then look to buy there for the run up to be overbought. All right. I don't know if it's going to do that, but that's what I would wait to do on this. Let the utility sector I don't know why it's getting beat up. I mean, most of these companies, they own the electricity. Like AEP owns the electricity in the entire Appalachian Mountains. Duke Energy, they are subcontractors mostly. And in the great state of Florida, we got FPL, which I don't think they're a publicly traded company. No, they are not. Florida Power and Light. It's just, they're not publicly traded. But you would think a company like that would be, of course it's going to make money, man. All it does is make money. I pay the electric bill every month. They got to be making money. Well, not necessarily. They could be, they could literally be in a lot of debt. A lot of debt. If they have a lot of debt, then I'd leave them alone. Two questions. Who are your top 3 favorite rappers? That's easy. I like Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent. Easy enough for you. Number 2, that's because Eminem came out when I was late teens, early 20s. I knew pretty much every one of his songs. I could rap with him almost every single song he made up into the Eminem show, because I think once he got past the Eminem show, I'm not saying talent fell off. Obviously, the more you do something, the better the better you get at it. It's just the type of material he was putting out. That old Detox album was garbage, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't mean to offend anybody if you're a diehard Eminem fan, but I think Detox album was garbage, and Recovery wasn't much better. I mean, I didn't like, yeah, I think the Eminem Show was the greatest album ever released as far as rap wise, because there's some hard hitting songs on there. And obviously, the Slim Shady LP, his second album, was also one of my favorite albums of all time. And two, I want to go long on the NASDAQ. When do we get a pullback? All right. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know about that. It's the same as the S&P 500, man. It's just so, I mean, it's already made fresh yearly highs. I mean, if you want to buy fresh 52 weeks, fresh 52-week highs, then that would be a candidate for you, right? But it had a massive move. All of this time it spent in this consolidation, and boom. So watch daily supports. That's all I could tell you as far as being a buyer on this. Got a daily support right there at 15,949. Now I know that's not going to be the price on the actual NDX or the E-mini contracts, the futures contracts. The price is going to be different, but I don't know if you're trading this. This is a CFD, so we can't trade this in America. But I mean, that's where I look to be a buyer. Daily supports. If it closes the daily under that one, I would watch this one for entries, bullish entries. And then all the way down the road, I mean, boom. But if it gets back under the daily 21 exponential moving average, I would stop buying it. Right? Because then that could potentially mean that the trend is changing back to the downside. But right now, it's just so stretched out. Maybe wait for even that, the test of that yellow line right there, whenever it gets up there. That might be a good spot to be a buyer. But with that, I mean, the same thing. It's just the tech stocks holding that baby up there. Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Netflix is not part of it. Well, neither is Tesla really, but these are these are your heavyweights right here. And Nvidia only became a heavyweight this year. Right? Only became a heavyweight this year. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, big, huge market caps. I would say you probably be better off buying, individual stocks. You'll outperform. Let's just say that. You'll outperform if you just buy tech on a pullback than if you buy the actual NASDAQ. Okay? Like if you bought a few shares of Apple, a few shares of Amazon, a few shares of Google, a few shares of Meta, a few shares of Microsoft, and a few shares of Nvidia, hell, throw in Tesla and Netflix in there, and guess what? You're going to outperform the NASDAQ percentage-wise. Bitcoin just made a fresh daily high, and it's not what we want, so I'm probably going to close the trade out. Simply because generally, if my trade isn't working within the first hour of me taking it, I tend to bounce. This is a continuation candle. See this right here, this candle? Also a continuation candle. When you have a bullish candle like this, and then your next candle pulls back to the midpoint and then closes higher, you typically wait for the next candle to be a buyer. I can't buy it because it's in the heavy resistance. But at the same time, this looks like continuation and not a short. Yeah. I mean, I'll hold it until I'll eat the stop because it's not a heavily leveraged or a huge position size. So, I mean, it might equal 2% on the account. So, I'll hold it, but that's where my stop is, 37,506. Let me see what that price is exactly again on Bitget because I wasn't signed in on weeks. That price on Bitget is 37,484. 37,484. That's where my stop is. And I'm not digging. I'm not digging what they did with the new thing here on Bitget. I don't like the update. The updated platform. It's just, I don't know. It's more difficult. So we'll see what happens with it, but it's set. The stop is set, so it doesn't matter. We can continue to look at other stuff. So late. The big guys are selling because it's tax time. Yeah, I don't know if that's it. I hope you read this. A Roku short at the top of the channel. Let's go look. Hang on, I did miss a few. Why do all the girls like karaoke and dancing? To show off their moves like Mick Jagger, I think. I can't think of two worse things to do. Yeah. I was never a fan of it either. I was never a fan of it either. But yeah, as far as selling because it's tax time, I don't buy that. It's so much easier just to leave that money in there and not pay taxes on it than it is to take it out and pay huge taxes on it. Right? Huge taxes. Whenever you take profits, that is a taxable event. Once you realize those gains, that is a taxable event. And he can pay taxes on what he gets paid personally through his company. He probably makes, who knows what he makes yearly, what his yearly salary is. I mean, the dude don't need to take out $1 billion. Maybe he wants to buy a boat. Hell, I don't know. It's not up to me to speculate on, what he's doing with the money. It's just, it seems funny to me that, like he didn't do that last year or the year before that or the year before that or the year before that. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't do it every year or he wouldn't have any shares left. I mean, calculate how many shares he had to sell in order to get $1 billion of Amazon's price. And one would assume that would affect the stock. And it did. I just was unable to get an entry based on the fact of the skew being so screwed up. It's hard to get spreads on these things for cheap. Typically, what I like to do is I like to get a $5 wide spread for $1.50, right? Because that means I can make up to $3.50. And then all I'm risking is the $1.50, right? That's when I like to do the spreads. But here's Amazon, and to put on a $5 wide put spread, it's gonna cost 194,306. Not bad. But I would have rather have done it yesterday when it was at the high of day, not today around the lows. Like every time this thing has, those kind of big candles, it seems to get bought up. But maybe we could still put this trade on. Let me look at risk. Let me look. What we got going on? Oh, that's just old yearly high. No, that's not a yearly high. That's just a swing high, a random swing high. This is the old yearly, or the last yearly high. Now we have fresh yearly highs yesterday. Yesterday would have been the time to take the trade. Hell, we would already be closing the trade today if I would have taken it. I just didn't. But I wanted to. I wanted to very, very badly. I believe I wrote it down in the stonk room. Oh, I wrote it this morning. Never mind. I did say, how is Amazon going up, seeing how Bezos just sold a lot of money? And I knew, wasn't yesterday Cyber Monday or something? Isn't it Cyber Monday? Isn't Cyber Monday the Monday after Black Friday? That's when like all the computer deals happen or whatever. People go online and shop. That would have been the perfect time to sell up there. 149 to 146. That would have put us in the money. Like better. You'd be 3 strikes in the money on that. So instead of being here, you'd be up here. Now your short call wouldn't be in the money yet. So you wouldn't, that's about when you make 50% of the profits, when your short call gets in the money. That's usually when you start doing really good. This ain't bad. I mean, risk 196 to make 304. That ain't bad. It's not a perfect 2 to 1, but it's a 1.5 to 1 risk to reward. And like I said, by doing that spread, it would slow down price. Puts are skewed, though. See this? See the implied volatility? I want you to notice how it's going up the further you get out of the money. So this is better. I bet you can't put on a call spread for that price. 146. I can't put on a $5. I can't put on a $5 wide call spread anyways. Yeah, I can. No, I need 151. All right, so we'll move it down to 145 and we'll sell the 150s. See? 255 is your risk, 245 is your profit. Why is that? It's because of the implied volatility. Notice how on the call side, the implied vol is going down as you go further out of the money. It's going down. Over here on the put side, the implied volatility is going up the further you get out of the money. See that? So that benefits the sell side, if you will. That means it would be better to put on a put spread than a call spread. So even if it don't continue to go down, you get a bigger bang for your buck over here. But it's still a little bit expensive. It's still like over half your money. The best spreads is, like I said, when you can put on a $5 wide spread and only pay $1.50 for it. It's still a little bit expensive at 195. But since I'm selling a 23 vol and buying a 21, it's definitely the better trade. So we may still put this on if I can get Amazon to pull back to there. If I can get it pulled back to its open or up there. 147, 147-ish. I might put it on. And put it on late in the day. We'll see how it ends up playing out. But I think that will be enough to cause this thing to pull back pretty good. I think it could pull back all the way back to 140. And if that's the case, I want to be in this baby. You know what I'm saying? These are old levels. I don't know why they're still up. This one ain't. I just put it on today, but and it's perfect resistance was because you got higher closes there. What's Bitcoin doing? Oh, it's finally going our direction, I see. But it's really not still doing anything. Roku, short. Let's go look at that. Oof, probably not. I mean, it's extended. It went up on bad earnings. Well, just the top line beat, or bottom line was a beat, top line was a miss. And look at the freaking gap and go that thing had. That is that's a short squeeze. That's all there are to it. That's all there is to it. Like literally a short squeeze. It doesn't do anything all year long. Finally gets a pop, and then it pulls all the way back. Boom. Just short squeeze, Johan. And these things can last for weeks, man. Weeks. But you are freaking overbought, that's for sure. So a pullback probably is coming to a theater near you. You just don't know when or where, right? Everybody and their brother is shorting this thing probably right now, thinking the same thing that you are. It's too extended. It can't go higher. But just look over here. You know what I mean? It can go higher. So don't ever think something can't go higher. Don't ever think that. It is definitely moving to the upside right now. Roku would have been a good one to own because it dropped almost 90% of its value. But we would have bought that at the yearly open. 92% of its value it lost. It got beat up worse than any of the others. But I said if it's, if they're a good company, they can still make money, then people will buy this stock. No, I'd be more of a looking to be a buyer on this than a seller. Just wait for the pullback into the 21. Find an area of old resistance or an area of support and look to buy it. Like if it pulls back to 93.76 and the 21 gets up there, I'd probably be a buyer instead of a seller. Or wait for either the 21 or the 50, your choice. But if this trend is going to continue up, then that's where I'd be a buyer at. Bitcoin getting ready to come in or take profit. Let me put the take profit up there first. It's got to break through this midpoint, though. It's got to. Got to. Yeah, that's a 4-1 trade. It's not bad. That's got to get there though. That's what I like to call threading the needle, baby. Threading the needle. VOW looks good to buy, says Mr. Johan. Let's go check it. What? Which exchange, buddy? Because I forget you live. It's Volkswagen, but I mean, what are these exchanges here? Why do all these flags look the same? I don't know. I mean, if you can tell me which exchange, then I'll look at it. But it on that no, it does not look like a. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But I can't trade it. That's your daily tick. Like, ugh, that chart looks disgusting. Like when you have whole trading days that go by and you just get one tick out of it, one trade, one trade, one trade. Yeah, no, not good. And if I put it on a line chart, it's going to look bad. That doesn't look good. That looks bad. I mean, you're at all-time lows. Well, not since you made all-time lows there. So, yeah, you don't want to, like I said, this is the problem, right? Like when you're oversold and then oversold again and then oversold again and then oversold again, like you don't want to buy that. Like there was one opportunity to buy this thing, and it was from there, and then you had exited there. That would have been a perfect RSI cycle. You overbought, or oversold, and you sell it before it gets to overbought, and you would have made money. If you didn't, then boom, it went right back almost to your entry. And then boom, it came down to your entry. And then ultimately it stopped you out. Like, no, those aren't the stocks to buy. But it may, who knows? It may look better on like whatever exchange you're looking at it. It could be going straight up. I don't know. What's up, Will? Good morning. He's good to catch a live stream after 2 years. You've been cheating on me for 2 years, bro? What's up with that, man? Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, it is good. Bitcoin playing freaking games. Why did I pick a bar chart? I'm a candle guy. So Bitcoin was pushing down to our take profit. Like I said, we have to get through that midpoint range. If you don't, it's going to go up. And there she goes. Stopped us out. Probably should have took profits at the midpoint of this candle. See that wick right there? It's the midpoint of this candle pretty much. It's probably not exactly the midpoint, but I'd say it's close. Right here is the midpoint. So just to the midpoint and then stopped us out. Yeah. See, that's why I don't like taking trades that look like that. Ugh, disgusting. This is bullish continuation. And that's what I said here. This is a bullish continuation candle. And then boom, there you go. Bullish continuation. Oh no. No likey. We're stopped out. It's over. Now it'll dump. Watch. It'll dump all the way to 24K. I'm just kidding. It better not do that, or I swear to God, I'll throw this computer out, out the window. That meme, dude throwing his PC in the dump. All right. Can't stop, won't stop. Bitcoin Puff Daddy. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking like it's trying to break out. Or at least stops. Run some stops before it dumps out. Who knows? I see a lot of wiki action through here at this support zone. And you broke out, got above it there, and then kind of puked. But yeah, to me, Bitcoin just don't look like a short right now. I mean, there are shorting opportunities. Obviously, that was a good one. This would have been a better one. This was a good one. You know what I mean? There are short opportunities, but it just wasn't today. It was bullish on the day. Like when you're trading above the open, that's usually a good sign that something's probably going to go higher. If you're trading under the open, that's when you typically want to look to be a seller. Like yesterday would have been a perfect opportunity because it literally hit our level that we wanted to short at today and rolled over. That was another reason why I didn't really like it today, because it just did that yesterday. Why would it be doing it today? Just to take out yesterday's high and then reverse? That's a possibility too. But did it? It did. Well, I'm not going to take another shot at it, but if you guys want to, as long as you're not closing hourlies above yesterday's high, you could potentially look to short it again. This candle right here is yesterday's high. Right there. You did take it out, so maybe that's where it rolls over, but potentially maybe that's where it also continues to go up. It looks like it's accumulating on a larger time frame. Right? Like that just looks like accumulation. That bullet, the bearish pattern, if you will, is like it's a little bit long in the tooth. We'll see what it does ultimately, but there are other things to trade out there. That's what I love about, everything else. Didn't see anything this morning on FX, nothing at all. Like everything had already made its move or just wasn't moving at all in FX world. But there are a lot of stocks to trade. For instance, the RTX long that I set up yesterday is doing pretty damn good. The CMCSA trade, which is Comcast, isn't doing very good. It's still setting right where it's been setting, it seems like, for the last 5 days. I don't know why this thing can't get moving, man. Where are you at? Definitely should have shorted Charter instead. It's the exact same thing. Comcast is, everybody knows who Comcast is. Well, Charter does the same thing, right? They do the same thing, just in different states. It's breaking down. Charter was the better trade. It literally broke down and moved lower, whereas Comcast has just been like petering around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and it's moved exactly $1. Like, come on, man. $1 in 5 days? That's all you got, bro? That's all you got? Bitcoin dropping back down under our stop loss. Just crying over my hodl bag. Quick question: what apps you use to manage crypto portfolio trades? Tax? Well, I hire a guy for my taxes, and he hates me because all the trades I take. But anyways, what apps? Right now, I'm using Weeks for a crypto exchange. It's this exchange right here, Weeks. There is a link in the description. If you want to use my link, it'll save you 20% on all fees. On all fees. I'm using this exchange and also Bitget. I still have funds on Bitget. Um, Eventually, I'll probably transfer most of my funds over to Weeks, but I'm still an affiliate for Bitget, so I don't, might hold a little bit of money over there. But this exchange right here is pretty much the same way as all other crypto exchanges. I mean, as far as the way they look and how to manage your orders or whatnot. So yeah, and it has a Coin M futures contract. So this is what I usually trade right here. The Coin M futures contract. So I just take Bitcoin from Bitget, transfer it here, and then trade. Or do the same thing on Bitget. Like I said, I'm not logged in for some reason on this platform. Otherwise, I would have taken the trade here. But I am logged in on Bitget, so I went ahead and just took the trade over there. But yeah, I use this. This way you can, like, if you're a profitable trader, you don't ever have to buy Bitcoin again, right? Like, you trade your Bitcoin and then you lose a little bit here and there when you make bad trades like we did today. But like I said, being a normal day, if I wasn't live, I wouldn't have taken the trade. Just being live sometimes puts pressure on me to trade, especially if I haven't traded in a while on a live stream. But anyways, it didn't look like a short to me. I said it from the very beginning. It looked like bullish continuation. So there's that. But if you can trade and trade profitably, when you build up your Bitcoin on exchange to a certain percent, like I would usually do about 10 grand. Like, and then once I had 10 grand worth of Bitcoin, I would move it to cold storage. Right? And just keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again. But I had built up such a big bag of hodling. I took profits when we hit 35K. I took 1/3 of my positions off, to pay bills or whatnot and stuff like that. But I mean, it just gotten to the point where it was massive, and it was every $1,000 move in Bitcoin was getting to the point where it bothered me really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? So I had a profit target of $35,000. That's where the gap was. I said, if we get up there, I'll probably take profits. We got up there. I took profits. I still have, a pretty good size hodl bag. So I like it when it goes up. You know what I mean? I'm always long Bitcoin. Even when I'm short, I'm still long because I'm holding it in cold storage. That is in effect a long. So I do want to see it, get up there in value, in price. That way you can do what you originally intended on doing when you got into the space. Some maximalists will never sell any of their Bitcoin because they think in some distant future, Bitcoin will be the currency. I don't, right? I don't. Not in my lifetime, anyway. The payments are just too slow. And I know there's a Lightning Network, and I know, some people are doing it, but you can't even imagine the scale of transactions that would be required for Bitcoin to do if it was a worldwide currency. Like, yeah, it'd be insane. I think it would definitely slow the code down. But as a store of value, yeah. What do you hold stores of value for? Well, hopefully you hope it goes up over time. And then eventually you can either pass it off to your kids or your grandkids or whoever, because you can't take it with you. You cannot take it with you when you die. So I took profits, and I'll trade my way into owning more, and I'll do the same thing again, because we're getting ready to come up to a potential bullish event here in the halving in Q2 2024. So we'll see what happens. And right here is January 1. So I would love to see price liquidate that Q2 low and then trade up to about 27, 28, somewhere in there. That would be, like, in my opinion, a good spot to be a buyer if you don't have exposure. Or you can just wait till it gets over here and be a buyer here, no matter what price it is. And just wait, because if it's going to be bullish, it doesn't take long usually after the halving to do so. Just a few short months and see ya. We can go see how long it took last time before making fresh all-time highs. Wasn't long. But let's see. Let's see. All right, so roughly right there is all-time high. So he made fresh all-time highs in about 200 days. Not bad. Not bad at all. It was the same year. So the halving happened in May. By November, you were making fresh all-time highs. And then you were on a freaking year-long bull market rally. So if it's going to play out similar, then you want to be a buyer around April. I am manually tracking via Excel, but very messy. Yeah, I can see that. Powell talks this week, and we could get another leg up in the markets with PCE numbers, and I agree 100% with your M&M analysis. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm not sure what day PCE is, but we can look real quick, and then we'll wrap this baby up. Where are you at? Right there. Econ. And let's just shorten it by doing nothing but 3-star events. Because PCE is going to be a 3-star event. We got GDP Wednesday. That's tomorrow. We got GDP tomorrow. That's going to move markets. 4.9 is expected. And here it is on Thursday. So, yeah. We got ISM PMIs also on Friday, and Fed Chair speaks. Now, I wouldn't get too worried about, I don't see him speaking today. Today is Tuesday. There's not much happening. I mean, you got an RBNZ interest rate decision that'll move Aussie and New Zealand currencies, but only if they do something unexpected like drop or raise. Right? If it comes in line with, then it's probably already made its move. Yeah, this is the market pricing in that move. So I would probably be a seller of the NZD as long as they don't do anything. All right. As long as they don't do anything. If they don't cut tonight, that happens at 8 p.m. Eastern, I think, for me. What time is it? Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I would probably be a seller. Let it come out and then sell it. Let it initially get a pop to the upside and then sell it. Because that's exactly what happened to the Aussie dollar. Here it was that had a big move up coming into expectations where they were going to hike. They did, and they sold off. So I would expect the same thing to happen on NZD. They're not expecting them to do anything, though. So that's the key right there. If they hike, I would not be a seller because that will give this currency strength if they hike. Right? If they hike, I don't care if it's 25 basis points, 10 basis points. If they hike anything higher than where they are currently, that will cause a spike in price. But if they don't do anything, I'd say you could probably be a seller and then buy it back at 61.97. Buy it back either here or here. But I think that would be a decent little short swing trade down at least a little bit, but it doesn't mean it has to. I'm just saying it might. Just keep your eyes on it. Wait for the meeting to happen and then wait for that little spike in price and then short it. Today it's actually got a pretty decent range. And the meeting will be tomorrow's candle, though. It won't be today's candle. This candle closes at 5 p.m. Eastern. So you'll have another candle open at 5:01. That will be the candle. That will be the candle. After that, I would probably sell it. I can't give you a level, though. I don't see one that's like beautiful. I don't think you're getting a 62. No way in hell. I don't think you're going up that far. I don't know. Maybe 61.5. 61.5. If it gets up there, maybe then take it. Right there. And short it. All right. And let me see here. Yeah, thanks for the week's head up. Everything was shut down except for that. Except that for leverage. Yeah. Been using it a couple months now. Weeks. Yeah. Like I said, I'm in Canada base, so we'll see if Weeks is available. It should be available anywhere in the world. They don't have any KYC. You know what I'm saying? All you need is an email and a password, and then just deposit crypto. Now, if you want to buy crypto from the platform, they're going to require you to KYC. Any exchange, all exchanges do. But if you already own crypto and it's in a cold storage wallet, like you already own Bitcoin, then you can just send it. No hassle, no problems. But yeah, if you use the link in the description, it'll give you 20% off trading fees. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading. If I do end up taking that Amazon trade, I will post it on Twitter. So if you're not following me on Twitter, I am at trade underscore talk underscore at trade one underscore talk one underscore. You can follow me there and I'll post that trade. I'll post it when I take it, so there won't be much of a lag. And since I'm using options, it don't really matter anyways, right? But it will be later on in the day. It will be later on today. Like, watch for me to post. If I'm going to post, if I take the trade, I'll post it like 15 or 20 minutes before the bell rings for the end of the day. All right. With that, y'all have a fantastic day. Autocorrect is weed available in Canada. I'm sure it is. All right. Thank y'all for being here. We'll see you Thursday, same time, same channel. And maybe we could do a little bit better. All right. All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. Happy trading, everybody.